Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. My name is Brandon Fleet, or George, or Daffy Duck as my name entails. And today I'm going to be making a different type of style of video. I have done One Piece chapter reviews in the past, as well as theories for One Piece, and many other anime, more to come soon. This is also an anime video, just kind of a switch up on my other content where I usually have in the background of my room, where I have a bit of manga in the background, but I switched it up for this video. Hope you guys like it. This does not mean that the background is gone. We're going to be going back to it. Just a little bit of a breath of fresh air because I am human, and this is easier for me to do. So yeah, let's hope you guys like the video. I would love it if you like and subscribe, and yeah, enjoy the video. So in this video, we're going to be going over chapter 1061 and 1062 of One Piece. These are the official chapters that have come out. There are chapter 1063 spoilers out. I will not be doing spoilers anymore. At least I've decided, unless it's something so insane I have to talk about it. I'm going to be just talking about official chapters that drop on Friday, and there is no break next week, so yeah. The title of the chapter of 1061 is Egghead, the Island of the Future. Oda does this a lot with especially new islands. When we got onto Wano, there was a chapter I think called the new beginning, Wano Kuni, something like that. So he does this a lot with when we get to a new island. He always has to, and it's fine, you know, it's nothing bad. I'm not here criticizing or anything, just pointing it out. And the Egghead, the Island of the Future, and then the cover page is Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji, Sanji's brothers, except for his sister, with Caesar the Clown, the guy that basically was on Punk Hazard, and he was the apprentice of Dr. Vegapunk, which is very relevant right now, so that's probably why we're seeing him. And yeah, it says at the bottom, the Germa 66 Cold-Blooded Voyage, Volume 19, Time to Escape, Niji and Yonji are free. So this is in reference to how they were escaping Cracker and Katakuri from the past, because in the past chapters, in the cover pages, we've seen them basically escaping Whole Cake Island, which is good, they're escaping. There's also another cover page I will cover after I cover this chapter in 1062. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, this is what we got for this right now. But we're going to breeze past all of that because right now we are in the start of the chapter where after Luffy basically told in last chapter 1060 where he told the Straw Hats his dream, he's right now sitting on the ship chilling while Zoro's probably asleep and Sanji's probably whining about how he really wants girls. We see a huge mecha shark appear from under the water, and I love that I went on Twitter, and yes, it's the one time I went on Twitter and something was actually good, that I basically saw people praising Oda for drawing the shark like an old Jaws movie poster, because if you don't know, if you've ever seen the Jaws movie, that's what it is, right? There's always a shark jumping out of the water. Then we see the mechanical shark, and focus on my words, mechanical shark, try to bite the Straw Hats, or the Sunny, if I want to be specific, and they basically escape because now Jinbei's on the crew, and he saves them because he can manipulate water, which is very good. We are already seeing how Jinbei is being a great crewmate to the Straw Hats already, even though he's done so much, and him basically saving them. And then later on, we see Luffy and Chopper and Bonnie, which showed up in the last chapter, fall off the ship and go into the water, which would be bad, yes, because Luffy and Chopper and Bonnie are Devil Fruit users, but they do have a Jinbei, which also fell off the ship with them. Not really fell off, but in this chapter we do see him kind of say, well, they're all Devil Fruit users, and that's my captain, so I'm gonna jump into the sea and basically save them and pull them back up. And that's what he does. He takes off his coat, which I kind of found weird reading the chapter because he's a fishman. Don't know why. Every time we see him in the water, doesn't really need to unsoak his clothes, but sure, whatever. And one more thing I forgot to mention was that right after this happened, we cut to a huge mecha robot. At first, I thought this was Frankie's, form. I feel so disappointed for forgetting the name. Cyborg Frankie, I'm just gonna go with right now. And he kind of just punches the big mechanical shark out of the way, and it looked really, really cool. It's a huge, huge, huge. Just for perspective, imagine the Sunny and then a huge building. The Sunny looks like a little pebble to this thing. It looks like a Lego piece of the Sunny. That's how small it is compared to this huge robot. But then we cut to a G14 naval base, a nearby island, it says in the chapter, and we see Tashigi, the Navy HQ captain. Well, she's been promoted to captain. We knew this already, didn't we? I'm not going off. We already knew that she was a captain, and like Kobe is, and Kobe is relevant in this chapter because we do meet two new characters which we have seen before. One is completely new. One we have seen before, but kind of just been introduced now as a main character, I guess you could say. So we're going to start off with the new one. Her name is Doll. She's a G14 commander, Vice Admiral Doll. That's her epithet in the chapter, as the narrator says. And basically, Hamapo is bothering her because Kobe got kidnapped by Blackbeard. We saw this in chapter 1059. It's been stated that he's been kidnapped by Blackbeard. So Hamapo basically wants to save, his captain. So that's what he intends to do. Of course, Doll right here does not want. She's basically saying that it's that pest Hamapo. Can't you do something about him, Tashigi? And then Tashigi kind of sympathizes with him and says, well, Doll, this guy basically just lost his best friend, and not only that, but his captain, and then proceeds to call Kobe their junior. Now, it's kind of weird for Tashigi to say junior to a guy like Kobe, because Kobe's a captain just like her, and now knowing that he's basically the hero of the Rocky Port incident, yeah, maybe it's not as big, actually definitely not as big as something like the hero of God Valley like Garp, or the hero of, just anything in general, but it's definitely something. So her calling him a junior because they're the same rank is kind of weird, but maybe because Kobe's younger. I'm assuming he's younger than Tashigi. I don't actually know the age, but yeah, let's just go with that. Then we meet one new character. I said there was only one new character in this. There's actually two, but in terms of Marines that, you know what, yeah, she's kind of a Marine. I'm pretty sure she's a part of Sword, but because it says in the chapter they're a part of Sword. So what we could confirm in this chapter is that Hamapo is a part of Sword. Navy HQ Commander Hibari, which we'll talk about in a second, she's a new character. It's also a part of Sword. And they're basically pleading to Tashigi and Commander Vice Admiral Doll that we really want to save Kobe. Now, I don't know who this Hibari is. There are already theories out there. I've seen BDA Law throw out this theory that she's Akainu's daughter, which, cool beans, my dude. If you want to make that theory, that's cool. I don't really see it as plausible, but sure, whatever. But kind of obvious that, well, not obvious, but it kind of implies that she likes Kobe in some way. She does call him Senpai Kobe. Now again, Senpai does mean in Japanese like my older, like my elder. Like I'm gonna respect you at least. That's what a senpai is. She's the only one that calls him senpai, so that's what makes me think that she likes him or so. Also, people have been saying that, yeah, girl, Kobe has to. But whatever. Let's go down a bit more, and then we basically see the new character, Navy HQ Rear Admiral Sword. He's a part of Sword as well. Prince Groose. It's Groose or Gruss, I don't actually know. But Prince Groose, we have seen this guy before, but along with Prince Groose, we also see this big dude. I think do we know his name in this? I don't think so, but basically Hamapo is pleading to these three characters to basically please help us save Kobe from Blackbeard's Island and the Hachinosu. Now, I don't blame Prince Groose in this chapter because he is logical. He is a rear admiral, so he's under Vice Admiral Doll. But we have not seen Vice Admiral Doll before, at least to my knowledge. Prince Groose we have seen before, along with his big buff dude in the back, bodyguard. We don't really get his name, but we've seen them in a cover story before. I can't tell you the exact one, but if I do find it, I'll put it up on screen. If I don't, sorry, I guess. But we have seen them before where they were in a bar. I think it was on Dressrosa when I think it was right after Luffy defeated Doflamingo, or right before, right in the middle of the fight. There was a chapter cover where we see them kind of arrest someone in a bar, and that's where we first meet him. So good for the community to pointing that out. Something good happened on Twitter once again. Then he's basically talking sense into Helmeppo, saying that we're not gonna go save Kobe. He's literally in the Hachinosu, from what he's understood. If Blackbeard stole him, kidnapped him. Yep, kidnapped him's the right word. Then they're not gonna, go to the main home base of a Yonko crew, because I feel like people forget that Blackbeard's a Yonko, because he's a goofy character at the same time. But you gotta remember, Luffy's so goofy, but look how strong he is. But then we go down, and we're gonna cut back to Vegapunk. Now I know in this context right now, Vegapunk has not been revealed, so me revealing Vegapunk right now is kind of weird to you. Like, Vegapunk, what do you mean? But this chapter has been out for, what, 3 weeks now? So, yeah, almost 3 weeks. This should have been revealed to you. If not, I was going to get into it in this video anyway. You don't have to worry. But basically, we see this huge robot. Again, shows the scale of how huge this robot is compared to the Sunny. This is the robot that punched the mechanical shark. And basically, the Straw Hats are thanking this gigantic robot. And the only two people that are mesmerized at it is Franky, which, it's Franky. I was expecting him to, and Usopp. I always loved the fact that Usopp was because before Franky joined, he was the kind of shipwright of the crew. And even though, I'm not saying Usopp has no identity in the crew after Franky joined, especially pre-time skip, he definitely does. But I really did like that part of his character back in the East. Or not in the East, before Franky joined the Grand Line. I really liked the fact that he was the shipwright that really cared about the ship. Of course, Franky's geeking out, Usopp's geeking out, looking up this gigantic robot. The only person that kind of looks serious in this is Zoro and Robin, paying attention, being the smart people on the crew. Robin being more smart than Zoro, but Zoro kind of just being there, like, I gotta keep my guard up, I guess. Then we see this woman pop out of the robot head, and basically the Straw Hats are saying, "Thank you for saving us." Franky says this, nod to how Franky's a shipwright, and Vegapunk is a smart scientist, as well as Franky has studied on the island where Vegapunk used to, live at a couple years ago, I guess. And then she walks out of the robot and she says, "You stupid pirates." And she's talking like an old man, because the kanji in Japanese, people have confirmed this on Twitter, like Arthur or Artur. I've been saying this wrong. Every time I mention it in my videos, I've always said Arthur. It's Artur. I'm sorry for the Arthur fans, or even if you're watching my videos, I don't think he does. I'd be very surprised if he did. But yeah, it's Arthur, Artur. I'm sorry. So she walks up and kind of talks like an old man in the kanji and says, "Huh, you stupid pirates, you can call me Dr. Vegapunk." Then the chapter ends with just like nothing there, and then Oda says how unexpected with the last words of the chapter that always come with a chapter. Now we're going to go to 1062, which, by the way, I forgot to mention in this chapter that Luffy and Bonnie talk when they land on the little island place, where I was going to mention it, but it's not really that important. The only thing important in it is that Luffy does say, Bonnie mentions his Gear 5th, and Luffy says, "Yeah, that's the form when I'm the most free," which is cool to learn, but other than that, there was not really anything there, other than, fan service, which is not rare in a manga, but, this is fan service, and, if anyone has watched my channel for more than even, one video, I don't like fan service. Not despise it, I just don't need it. I don't know why I would, but, yeah, that's it. So this chapter is very heavy on just the talk of Vegapunk, but I'm going to try breezing past most of it because I want to get this video not to be 20 minutes long, so we're going to try breezing past all of it at a rate where you guys can understand. So we are back on Vegapunk, the Vegapunk Island. The Egghead Island would be the actual name, but everyone's here saying, the Vegapunk. And then I think this is Franky that says them, but he says, what a fracas, which is weird. I don't know if that's like a what the hell type of slang, I guess, but Franky starts saying, "Oh, you're my role model," and Sanji, he just cares about the ladies, and my dude's just like, they're like, "Oh, what a stunning lady," he says. Usopp is like, "I can't wait to show Luffy and Chopper how huge this robot is," because, he's still fascinated about the robot. But the only person on the crew that well, there's two people, but the only person on the crew, just like last chapter, that are even remotely considering that this person is not a good person, is Zoro and Robin. And I really want to highlight Robin here because Robin has been my favorite character in terms of just her backstory and her arc, because we all know in One Piece all the Straw Hats have an arc. Probably the weakest one being Brook, but still a great arc. That's how amazing it is. It's so Brook's backstory was so good, but it's still the weakest one. That's how good everyone else's backstory is. Robin's my favorite one, as well as many others. It's very popular, especially Water 7 and Eni Slabi. She's sitting here, and she basically puts her hands up, about to, like her in her Hana Hana no Mi pose. She's about to spawn some arms, and she says, "Just a moment. This is the first I've heard of Vegapunk being a woman, and she looks far too young. Vegapunk has been active for many, many years." Now, again, this is just showing how smart she is. Zoro's not really thinking like that. We don't really see what Zoro thinks. He kind of just stands there in that pose, that menacing pose, where he holds his sword, and he's just sitting there. Vegapunk doesn't give two craps about this, and Vegapunk gets angry, and I'm gonna say she, because it is a girl, but again, it is a robot, or cyborg, who knows. She says, "Are you deaf? This is not a rescue. I'm gonna steal your treasure." Then Nami comes in saying, hey, that's my thing. And then that's kind of it. So Vegapunk spawns in, well, I say it spawns in, but she basically calls up all these Sea Kings. Now, I want to tell you, this is not the Sea Kings that, like, the Poseidon could, like, pull off. No. These are, like, mechanical Sea Kings that she built, and which is really cool. They really showcased how amazing Vegapunk actually is. To the extent where she can literally create Sea Kings, which is awesome. And, there's this amazing panel, which there's not really too much in this that I could have to point out other than the story. There's this amazing panel with Franky and Usopp, where Franky's just astounded. Like, there's these things that can kill him. Like, they're literally standing in a death trap. There's like 5, 6 Sea Kings standing in front of him, and they're all like huge. And just to clarify, these are not the massive Sea Kings we saw back when we first got over the red line. No, these are like the ones we saw at the start of Fishman Island when, more specifically, if you watch the anime, it's when they were going down into Fishman Island and they finally beat the big octopus that Luffy befriended. There were these, like, the pirates of Vanderdecken, that's his name. They were riding the actual Sea Kings, and these are just the mechanical versions. There's a more specific answer, by the way. So then we see Franky kind of like, he's about to die, but he's so mesmerized. He's like, his dream's coming true. He's just looking at it in like pure awe. He's like, "Weaponized sea beast, that's so rad." And he does say rad in this. Usopp, it's also funny because he goes, "I don't know how to feel. I want to feel scared because I'm about to die, but it's so cool." And then we got Zoro's blank expression, just staring at a Sea King. And Bonnie, not Bonnie, I mean Nami, standing in front of a Sea King, and Brook, and, all the original, except for Chopper, Luffy, and the others. They're just kind of scared. Then she kind of just, like, gets a phone call, Vegapunk. Gets a phone call, this woman, we're going to call her this woman, gets a phone call, and it's from another Vegapunk. So we figure out this chapter that there are 6 Vegapunks, and then there is one main Vegapunk. Maybe it's number 1 is Vegapunk, or it's 0. Who knows? But yeah, we get this little panel where she's confused. She's like, "I'm about to, like, attack them. Why are you calling me?" And she basically says, "I'm gonna sum it up for you. There's a couple of panels. I'm gonna sum it up for you." She basically says, "Are you an idiot? Do you know what crew that is?" And then she goes, "Well, no, but can't you see that they're all stupid? Look, they're all, like, cowering in fear." Referring to Nami and Usopp, and, technically Usopp, he's kind of just in both right now, cowering in fear. But then she kind of says, "Well, yeah, but look at the swordsman and that woman over there with her hands up." And she kind of goes, "Well, if you technically look at him, you're right in his range right now." She's referring to Zoro, that look, how calm he is right now. He's not even flinching, and these sea beasts are around him. And then she kind of just looks at like herself, then back at Zoro and Robin, and goes again, back again, and again, back again. And then she kind of just has this look and realization like, oh shit, like I'm gonna die. So then she kind of like freaks out, but like tries to keep her composure. Then we cut to Zoro saying, hey Vegapunk, there's something I want from you, so you'd better play nice, got it? Then of course Frankie is geeking out and Sanji is Sanji around the limb. But then we do cut to Vegapunk number 1. So like I explained before, there are 6 Vegapunks and 1 main one. Apparently that's how it's explained. Or number 1 is the main Vegapunk. It's not really, I don't know, but that's what we're gonna go with for now. We do see Dr. Vegapunk number 1. So the one we were just with, the girl, her name is Lilith, and she is number 2, Punk 02. The one we're talking to right now is Punk 01. Shaka, also known as the Punk of Logic. The last one was the Punk of Evil. That's why she's called Lilith. Like in Judaism mythology, I know it's in other mythologies as well, where Lilith was the first human to become a demon after not, obeying Adam back then. And then we do cut to the number 1 Vegapunk, like I said, Shaka, saying, no matter, bring them here, I have interest in that crew, which is, of course, we'll talk about this in other videos down the road to come. So then Bonnie, we see Bonnie and Luffy, they landed on the island, like I said last time, and they found basically like a sewer, like a cave sewer thing. It's cool, it's cool. When this gets animated, it's gonna look really nice. They're just talking, like, I want to eat. Then Bonnie's explaining, this is no run-of-the-mill lab. This is Egghead Island, Vegapunk's lab. Then she explains how Kuma was her father and she is the daughter of Kuma, which now is really eye-opening. I used to think that, well, I already had the theory that she was the daughter of Kuma, just kind of thought that Kuma would be the son of Bonnie because she can change her age. But guess not. But yeah, cool. It's really big news. Anyway, Jinbei says that's awful. Luffy's like, yeah, whatever. He's kind of like mesmerized. He's like, but can your father shoot lasers? Yeah, he can shoot. That's so cool. Bonnie's there like, but his humanity is all gone now. Yeah, he can shoot lasers. That's cool and all, but he's basically dead. But can you shoot lasers? Yeah, you see what I mean? It's kind of annoying. But then Jinbei says that's awful and it's unforgivable. Him being a fishman and how his race was completely tortured and enslaved. And hearing about Kuma, this guy that apparently was such a tyrant, that literally naming him the Tyrant Kuma, to the point where we know that now he didn't even have humanity in him, is just sad to Jinbei. So they crawl through these sewers, they find an opening ladder, which they climb, and Luffy starts calling Bonnie Bogey. And she's like, it's Bonnie, yeah, Bonnie, whatever. So we see Chopper and Luffy. They're really hungry because they're both gluttonous. Well, Chopper's not really that gluttonous. I don't know why he was so gluttonous in this chapter. Maybe he hasn't eaten in a while. But we see Luffy and Bonnie, and we all know Luffy is a glutton. Bonnie is a glutton. For you that don't know what glutton means, it's like really big into food, eats a lot. That's what a glutton is. So they basically see this huge space like monster thing. He's wearing futuristic armor. He's one of those sea beasts. And Luffy kind of wants to fight him. It doesn't really imply. I thought when I first read this chapter, I really thought he wanted to eat the monster because he was just so hungry. But no, he literally just jumped at it because he wanted to fight it. And fair enough, Luffy. So that's what he does. He gets up, and Bonnie basically says, "Hey, remember, like this place is not to fight." And then Luffy's like, "Gum, gum," and jumps. And yeah, he jumps. Then he goes right through the monster, and it kind of gets eaten, and everyone's like, "Oh God, Luffy's been eaten!" Everyone's shocked. Then Luffy just comes right back out the other side, and he's like, "How did I get out of there? That's weird. So later it's revealed to basically be a hologram that Luffy just goes right through it, and he's like, it's a hologram, and it's insane. Uh, which is weird. It's weird because it definitely does show that different parts in the One Piece world is various like we're variating in different technology. Because some parts of the One Piece world, like the East Blue, there's like candles for lights, you know, bars that are not that advanced. But again, this is Vegapunk's island, so I do understand. And then they see a huge like ice cream right on the street. It's just like a huge think of Totland. Think of a huge cupcake in Totland. Think of that, just in ice cream form. That's how cool it was. And of course, Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper all jump at it. Big guns they are. I feel bad for Jinbei. He's like the dad. He's like, oh, my kid's taking him to a theme park. And like, oh, Luffy, don't eat all the food. No, no, no. And that's kind of how I feel right now. Jinbei is. So then they kind of jump to eat it, but then they go right through it because apparently it's a hologram again. Luffy gets really ticked off, and people have pointed out. When I first read the chapter like a couple of weeks ago, I didn't realize this, but Luffy goes into Gear 5th. Like you can see the particles, you can see that rubber, that like weird aura around him of like smoke. It's happening. There's an aura, and he gets really ticked off that he can't eat it. He's like, oh, I'm so pissed off. This ticks me off. Barney's like, it's just an image. Chill. Even though she's also ticked off. And then we meet this person that's like apparently huge and apparently compared to Kaido's size, which is okay. And she basically punches the like huge robotic thing, hologram. I don't know what happened in this chapter. I was so confused, but then I got explained it, and it made me even more confused. So basically, there's this girl that shows up in the chapter. She's also a Vegapunk. It's revealed later in the chapter, but she's also a Vegapunk. And Vegapunk, in this chapter, I think she's Vegapunk number 5 or number 6, and she basically explained to the Straw Hats that there is this machine on the islands that can create any type of food by the click of a button. And then she starts like getting mad because of the problems that this like thing caused, because they basically need money to fund their projects. And Vegapunk here is basically saying that she's getting ticked off the more she speaks, because first she was like, oh yeah, so basically this like whole thing is because yeah, we really need to create these projects, and we'd love to make really cool inventions. Problem is, we're not getting enough money. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna come over there to the world government. We're gonna punch them in the. It's basically like that. Then she puts on these gloves and then punches the hologram. You heard me right. I said she punches the hologram. The thing that Luffy just went through, punches it. So then she explains that these gloves can bend light and like touch stuff that should not be able to be touched or whatever. I don't know. It's probably foreshadowing, because who else do we know in this series that is made of light and we can't touch him? Even though Luffy has Haki now, it's still a debate. Like, can he even beat Kizaru? With these gloves, let's be honest, someone's gonna wear them and then punch Kizaru in the face. Let's be honest. Then it is revealed she's Punk 6, Vegapunk number 6. Then Bonnie's like, what the hell, that's a total lie. I know Vegapunk's an old man. Then Luffy's like, oh crap, I've heard that name before. Then he goes back to eating, because why not? But then that's the end of the Straw Hats, this whole shtick. Then we do end up seeing Sevapol Zero, or CP0, if you want to say that. And then we see Rob Lucci, Stussy, and yeah, they're sitting on a boat, and they explain, or also Kaku's there, by the way. If you know anything about me, you know how much I hate Kaku. Nothing personal, just don't like him. I hate his giraffe fruit. It's a running gag. But we see in the New World, So they say, so what now? Just keep listening. Lucci Vegapunk is technically still a single individual. So this is where we find out that Vegapunk is actually not one man, even though he is one man. He created these 6 other robotic beings, like assistants. They're called satellites. These satellites help him, because he's so busy all the time. These satellites are so smart, has his intelligence, well, at least some of his intelligence, because we find out later in the chapter that Lucci's trying to like talk about it with Kaku. He's like, so what are these things? And Kako says in Stussy that there's a main Dr. Vegapunk, then there are 6 others. There's Punk 1, Punk 2, Punk 3, Punk 4, and Punk 5, and Punk 6. We saw Punk 6 in this chapter, and we saw Punk 1. We didn't really see the face of Punk 1. We saw the back of Punk 1, but we saw Punk 1. And that was kind of the whole shtick of it. But basically, Lucci, the way he's here, he's getting annoyed. He's like, so basically, let's narrow this down for a second. So you want us, like the world government wants us, to basically kill the most intelligent man alive that has kept us alive and has literally built the things that we can use against the pirates. That seems smart. Then Lucci and Stussy, not Lucci, Kaku and Stussy, kind of just like goes, Lucci, shut the hell up, shut up, it's fine, we got a job, we take it, stop it, don't say anything. And I find that so funny. Yeah, Lucci's back, and Stussy's back, and Kaku's there too. But yeah, also one more thing to point out, we do see Akuma, Lunarian, not Lunarian, he has wings, Seraphim. Seraphim's like a new pacifista. He is not as big as the actual Kuma, but here's my theory, and I think this is because of how Kuma is. He's really big, and when he's an adult, I think it was stated he was like 47 or 48 back when we first met him. So he'd be 50, or I think this was after the time, so he'd be 47, 48. But all the Seraphim are children, so I'm just going to assume that this is a child version of Kuma. But just to show how big Kuma was, even as a child, he was this huge, that he's like bigger than Lucci, Stussy, and Kaku. But yeah, I think he's like 6'7", 6'8". But yeah, that was the chapter. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did say I don't want to make this video more than 20 minutes. How much did they get to? 32 minutes. That's nice. Hope you guys liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Hope you like the gameplay aspect of it. I don't know what I put behind this. Probably some Overwatch. Maybe some God of War. We'll see. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe, like the video. Comment down below your thoughts on these 2 chapters, and chapter 10 TV spoilers might come out soon. And theories too. Bye guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.